Hi guys, hope you're doing good and welcome back to the Watch Design Academy YouTube channel. So today we also have a very interesting video, and the video is going to be specifically about different style of watch cases. So when you think of iconic watches, right, the first thing that probably comes to mind is the actual watch case. So if you think of iconic watches, what comes to your mind? You think of maybe Rolex Submariner, of course, Audemars Piguet, Royal Oak, Cartier Santos maybe, Richard Mille, and we've talked a lot about branding and actual brand language and how it relates to case design, right, in the previous videos. We are just going to elaborate on this today. We are going to be talking about 5 different case styles that actually dominate the market in this current micro-brand watch industry, right? If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Dominic Kalagia. I am the watch designer at watchdesignstudio.com, and I have recently started my own watch design school for people that want to start their own watch brand or want to become watch designers. So I'm going to leave the links for that down below in this video. Feel free to check them out. First, take a sip of coffee. And now we can go. So we have the case shape number 1, and that is the actual round case. This is still the king of watch cases because most of the watch industry, 80 to 90% of watches in the complete industry is round watches. Classic examples are Rolex Submariner, Omega Speedmaster, a lot of the different micro brands like Manta watches, Baltic watches, Kuei Kyoto, and a lot of other brands. Let me open up some projects of mine that have round cases. We are going to talk about a little bit about why it's actually the most popular choice today. As you can see on my desktop, this is one of the projects I worked on, and this is a very good classic example of, let's say, a casual or a dress style watch which uses a round case. So this is a client of mine which I designed the watch for, and as you can see, it's a very normal classic look. The only thing that kind of separates it from being a complete round case is the actual crown guards, and that would be it. So here we have another project, and probably a lot of you guys watching this video are going to know this brand and who the founder of this brand actually is, but this is also a very good classic example of a GMT style watch with a round case. And this one is particularly good looking in my opinion. I really like the style of this watch. So the round style cases have become literally a tradition in this market. It's the most used case style, and the reason for that is because it looks very elegant. You can produce a lot of different styles of watches with this case easily. For example, divers, you can produce like GMTs, normal casual watches, chronographs. A lot of different models can be produced with this round case style. It's very easy and cost-effective to produce this sort of case style. And also to design this sort of case style from a designer's point of view, it's very easy and you cannot mess up a lot with this case style. So that is the case shape number 1 that we have, and this one is the most popular. Then we have case shape number 2, and this is, as of recently, for the past 2-3 years, I would say, one of the also most popular case shapes out there, and that is the Royal Oak AP style case. There is a lot of different existing micro brands that use this case style, that use this sort of variation of this style of case, right? So we have D1 Milano, that is also a very popular brand. We have Valucci, that is also like kind of a fashion / micro brand. We have Carter watches, Kainte watches, which basically use the same case style. We have a lot of brands trying to imitate this sort of AP style look. Also a very good example of a brand that has exploited this case very well is New Official. They have literally created a very big brand with this sort of case style. So yeah, so as you can see right here, this is 3D model that I created for Carter watches. So they are the new brand starting in this industry, and this is the design they are using. And as you can see, this has a very similar shape to an AP style watch. It's trying to replicate that octagonal bezel style. As you can see it's similar and that it's trying to be in that specific niche. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because a lot of people like this style of case, and of course, if you match their budget, it's going to sell, right? And here is the actual watch that I have taught our students inside the academy how to actually design. So this is included in one of our lessons, in one of our modules, which has a bunch of lessons on specifically this sort of case design and how to design it from scratch. And as you can see, this is basically a pure copy of an AP style watch. This is the second most used case in the watch industry that I've seen so far in my career, right? So then we have case shape number 3, and this is a rectangular style case or a square style case, or what I really like to call it is actually a tank style case, because oftentimes it resembles a literal tank, right? Most often the watches produced with this case styles are very slim, are very elegant, historic. They try to be like vintage inspired, so this is the case style they often use. And some of the very good examples of more famous brands having this case is like Cartier Tank, JLC Reverso, Cartier Santos would be one of them, but that is more of a squarish case instead of like a tank or a rectangular style case. And oftentimes it also like represents some sort of class, and that gives it a very good brand identity whenever micro brands try and use those case. And a very, very good example of this style of case has been used by Second Hour. That is one of the micro brands that have exploited this case style very well, and this is one of their models, so I think they have done a really, really good job with that. So this is one of the watches that I worked on recently. As you can see, it has a very, very vintage sort of vibe, but it's also very artistic at the same time. But the case is what we are looking at here. So this is the rectangular tank sort of style of the case, right? Then we have the case style number 4, which would be a cushion style case. So this case is usually soft square, I would say, right? It has some sort of rounded edges, and usually oftentimes it reminds us of like basically a cushion. So I have a very good example which I'd like to show you guys. So this was also one of the designs that I created, and this is a very, very good example of a cushion style case. So as you can see, it's not completely square or rectangular, but it's slightly rounded on the sides of the actual case, and that gives it a cushion sort of look, right? And oftentimes you can see a mix between a round case and a cushion style case, and I'll also show you an example of that one right now. So this is also one of the designs that I worked on, and this has also like almost a cushion sort of style of shape, right? Because it doesn't have complete cut right here between the lugs. Instead of, it has a flat surface, and overall when you look at the case separately, it almost looks like a cushion style case, right? Let me show you another example which I worked on recently, and that would be this one. So this is a chronograph watch, but it has sort of a cushion style case, but it's not fully a cushion style case. It's a mix of like a cushion style case and a round style case, right? So it is round, but it also reminds me personally of a cushion style case because it kind of looks like a cushion, right? Because it doesn't have like standard lugs. It's kind of a one-piece case. One of the more famous micro brands doing a cushion style case, you can check them out. They are called Pedrol watches, and they have some very bold designs, I have to say. On most of their designs, they are using a cushion case style, and that is a very good example of a brand that has used this case styles as their separate niche. And then we have the case shape number 5. Then we have the case shape number 5, and that would be an RM style case or a Richard Mille style case. And these cases haven't been popular a lot previously, but since Richard Mille has grown in popularity, so has this case style grown in popularity as well. So there are a lot of brands popping up, which are mostly like fashion sort of brands that are producing very cheap watches that are trying to imitate this sort of RM style watches. A very good example of an exploitation of this sort of case is Tsiga Design, or however it's pronounced. You can check them out online. It's called CIGA design or CIGA watches. So they have done a very good example of an RM style case design. So they have done a very good example of this sort of case design, and they have sold a lot of these styles of watches. And if you can go and check them out, you can see that the watches aren't really that expensive. So it's kind of a niche market as well, and they have tried to exploit that as well. And also I'm going to show you one of the designs that I worked on for Volucci watches. We have created a completely new watch design for them. They wanted to create something that would be in that sort of RM style category of watches, but it would be in their own style. So I'm going to open that up and show it to you guys now. As you can see, this is the design, and if you go check out on their website, you can see this design is selling now currently on their website. And basically this is a more elegant and a more sophisticated design of an RM style case. So an RM style case, in my opinion, would be very like eccentric style. It would be very like, it would be between a rectangular and a mix of cushion style case and of maybe even an Patek Philippe style case. So that was an inspiration for this one as well. So, and I think we've done a very good job with that. And this is probably my favorite Volucci watch, even though they are not my favorite brand at all. So yeah, this has been it for this video, guys. Once again, if you want to learn how to design watches for yourself, for your own brand, or become a designer yourself, you can check out the Watch Design Academy in the description of this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and ciao.